Alright, hey guys, how's it going? This is my first tutorial on Photoshop, and I'm pretty much going to show you my basic workflow, and hopefully you can take a lot from this and apply it to basically any image you take, and hopefully it'll improve your work. So let's get right into it. So I use this image right here of a house in Minister Island. Alright, so this is the raw image right here, and first off what you're going to want to do is go sharpen it to 80 and noise reduction luminance to 20. Sharpen up your image. We're going to open that. Okay, so if you're wondering, this is going to be the final image, and you can see all the effects right here in folders, nice and clean. You don't want a busy Photoshop project. Alright, first off, duplicate your main layer. It's very important. You don't want to lose any important stuff. And we're just going to do the basic selection here with the quick selection tool. Nothing fancy. Make sure everything's selected here. Alright. A little bit more trees there. Alright. And you're not going to want to make this its own layer yet. You want to go right here, up top, select and mask. Alright. And actually, before you open that up, hide your layer below so it doesn't show up when we're trying to do this. So as you can tell, not the best selection here, not at all. But we can fix that. So if any of you are wondering how I get really nice selections around trees, you go up to this. Not really sure what it's called, but it does magic. So you're just going to want to brush around the top of the trees here. And it's just going to find the edges really nice. Just like that. Alright. Let's go up here. Bring some of this back. Some of that. And I'm not going to do a perfect job here, but this is basically how you do it right here. And if you want to bring back some of the stuff that you deleted, hold Alt and bring back all that. We want that stuff here. Make sure there isn't any holes in your selection, like right there that I just filled in. That looks okay. I did pretty good there. Alright, that's fine. Erase some of the sky here. And you gotta go right down in between the trees here, or else it's gonna look weird. You can even go in right here. I might bring some of that back. Just go around the edge. Perfect. Alright. Starting to look pretty good now. Alright. So that's looking pretty good. Alright. So this is your basic selection. There's plenty of other ways to do this using color range and maybe blend if, some other ways, but for this situation, I feel like that might be one of the easiest ways. Alright, so now, Shift J, or Command J on Mac. We want to make, sorry, not Shift J, Control J. And it might be Control J on Mac too, now that I think of it. But I don't use Mac often, so don't take my word. Alright, so from there, hide that layer, and you can see there that is a really good selection actually. Alright, so what you're going to want to do is first off make that smart object and come down here to the little effects tab, go on levels, and right here you're going to want to pull this down. And actually we can pull this one down too, because we're going to need to darken the edges maybe. So leave that like this. And make another one. Bring that down a bit. Okay, now on both of these, you're going to want to invert the selection. So the way I do that is I usually just double tap on the actual effects and then click here, and you'll see it right here. And from there, I usually would put in my sky next. And we're going to use the sky right here, nothing crazy at all, just a normal night sky photo. And before you add your night sky photos, you always want to zoom in, make sure they're in focus, the shutter speed's not too long so it's not streaking. So that looks really good. Drag that right in. Alright, so I did some basic adjustments here. I might actually change them back to how they were. I don't want that like this. Okay. And I'll give that 70, 20. Okay. Alright. And when I'm adding my night sky photo, I usually try to get the nicest stars to show. So I like this constellation, I like the bright stars here, and that looks pretty good there. And all you have to do from there is put it right under the house. So this is gonna be what it looks like at first. Doesn't look incredible, but that's alright. We're gonna fix it. So to add in our our levels here, all we want to do is try to imitate the light a little bit. So since it's black, and black means not showing anything, all you want to do, oh sorry, and you're gonna want to mask these first to the layer below. Alright, now when we paint over these, should be good. Also, to get rid of those on the edge, the whiteness, just bring this down a little bit, or a lot, depending on your image. And right there you can see that it's pretty much perfect. We're gonna do the same for this side here. Right, go around the house a little bit, just like this. blend in a little nicer. So this levels here is to get rid of the bright spots on the edges. That's pretty much it. What I'm actually going to do is bring this down a little bit. And I'm going to fix this one, bring that back up, because I was on the wrong levels. Alright. So that's what it looks like so far. And what I would do basically is just darken this whole image. Except for the spots that you want to keep lighter. Now with this layer, all you want to do is give it some vignette / dodge and burn to the bottom of the image where the light normally wouldn't be visible. And you can add in a little bit more here if you want. And if you want to make some brighter, just brush some in there like that. Alright, and now once you get this far, you're going to want to make yourself some folders so stuff doesn't get disorganized. So I'm going to name this one House. And I'm going to name this Sky. And if we ever need something with the sky, it will be in its own folder. Alright. Now from there, I'm going to add some glow. And this glow / lighting is something that I use in a lot of edits. Almost every edit I do. And when you're doing these glows, you're gonna want to try to pick something based on your whole color scheme or something that's gonna complement it. So for this image, there's a lot of blue in the sky, and it would be just unnatural to have a yellow lighting be glowing on the side of the building with everything else, because it's not in the daytime. There shouldn't be a yellow light unless there's a street light or something, but you gotta take in consideration the mood as well. So for this image, I'm going to use blue. And I like to start out with a bigger brush and make sure your opacity is at 40 to start. Just brush once. So all you have to do from there is get a brighter blue and hold down Alt, right click, drag left, it's going to shrink it. Click again. Do the same thing. Go a little bit brighter. Turn up the opacity. Alright. And then the final one. Oh. Just go like that. Nice. Alright. So, this is our fake sun. Or fake light. Whatever you want to call it. Could be a moonlight or something. And we're just gonna Control T to transform and just make this a lot bigger. And don't put the full thing on the screen. Make sure at least half of it is off, unless like it's a direct sun. But it's just gonna look fake if you don't do it this way. So always base this light, the placement of the light, based on where the lighting's coming from in the actual image. So in this one, it looks like it could be coming from the right side down and catching lights here, but it doesn't look too unnatural to have it here, I don't think, so I'm gonna put it here. Also, I think it looks better. Alright. So once you have the one, you just want to duplicate it and change this one to screen, this one to overlay, and just bring the screen down quite a bit just so the highlights aren't really blowing out. That looks okay. And then the overlay just gives it a nice contrasty glow. Alright, so it's looking pretty good now. And what you're going to want to do is make a layer mask and just brush away some of this lighting, because right now it looks a little unnatural. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Now when you have that glow, always make a folder. Oops. Always make a folder and name it. I'm gonna name it glow actually, and from there you're gonna want to add a color balance, and this is just for the overall feel of the image. Really bringing out the mood. Alright, so that's a little too strong, so you're just going to want to bring it down to however you feel, really. And before that, I'm actually going to desaturate it a bit, because it's very unnatural to have really vivid colors during a nighttime scene. That doesn't really happen, so that looks a lot better like that. So I'm actually going to go in here and give it some purple. I really like that slight purple. And already it's starting to look pretty good. You want to go in your curves, bring some of those shadows back. Just give it some contrast here. Just like that. Alright. And then bring down that a little bit. And I'm gonna name these three Final Adjustment. Alright. So our image is almost completed here. This is a really simple edit, super fast. Anybody can do this. Not hard at all. Okay, so the last thing we're gonna do here is the Norton effect. It actually surprises me how many photographers don't know of this effect, because it just makes every image look super dreamy and original, in my opinion. Okay, so what you're gonna want to do is make a blank layer with this tab right here, and from there Control Shift Alt E, and that's gonna merge all these layers onto the new one. So now if I turn off all of these, it's just gonna be the one image. Alright, so now that we have that, you're gonna want to duplicate it, Control J. For the first one, you want to go to Screen. That's gonna brighten it and give it a nice glow. And for the second one, Overlay. That's gonna darken it. And that's not all for this effect. We're actually going to put a Gaussian blur on it. So before you do this, you're gonna want to convert it to Smart Object, both of them. And then you're gonna want to do the same thing to this. Alright, so that looks pretty unrealistic right now, but bear with me, we're gonna make it look a lot better here. So for the brighter one, mask, all you're gonna want to do is brush away the parts that aren't light. So it does work pretty well in the sky, so I'm gonna leave a little bit in the sky there. glow here. And that's good for that one. And for the darker one, same thing. Make another mask, and then instead of brushing away the darker parts, we're gonna brush away the lighter parts. You can even give it a little bit of a darker sky there. And don't worry, we're not gonna leave it like that. Alright, we're gonna wanna name that Norton Effect. Right. Now to finish this image off, all you want to do is dim these effects until it looks realistic. Alright, and now looking at this final image, I noticed that these lights could probably be dimmed down a little bit here. And actually it could be stretched out a bit. So I'm going to Control T, transform, and I'm just going to bring this out a little bit like that. Reposition it. And I'm actually going to brush away some of the light hitting the house on the side here. Make it kind of evenly spread. Right. Alright guys, and I think that pretty much finishes it up. I hope you took away from this. This isn't really anything crazy at all. It's just a basic edit. It's how I almost start out all of my images. But I just went through pretty much the basics here today. So, I hope you guys have a great night. I'm out. Peace.